What would you do if someone you loved vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and shattered lives? For the family of Maura Murray, this isn't a hypothetical question. It's a reality they've been living for nearly 2 decades. On February 9, 2004, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray left her college dorm in Amherst, Massachusetts, and embarked on a journey she never explained. Hours later, her car was found abandoned on a rural road in New Hampshire. There was no sign of a struggle, no clear evidence of what happened. Just a chilling silence that continues to haunt investigators and her loved ones to this day. The case of Maura Murray is one of the most perplexing and talked about disappearances in modern history. Was it a tragic accident? Did Maura choose to vanish, leaving her old life behind? Or was she the victim of something far more sinister? Tonight, we'll explore the events leading up to Maura's disappearance, the theories that have captured the public's imagination, and the lingering mysteries that keep this case alive. But first, let's start at the beginning. Who was Maura Murray, and what led her to that snowy New Hampshire road? Before we delve into the events of that fateful February evening, it's essential to understand the person at the center of this mystery. Maura Murray, born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts, Maura was the 4th of 5 children in a close-knit family. She was a star athlete, excelling in track and field during high school, and was known for her intelligence and determination. By all accounts, Maura was a bright young woman with a promising future ahead of her. In 2004, she was pursuing a nursing degree at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. But beneath her seemingly perfect exterior, cracks were beginning to show. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Maura's life seemed to unravel in small but troubling ways. For instance, just days before she vanished, Maura had been involved in a mysterious incident at her job on campus. While working a night shift at the student security desk, she broke down in tears after receiving a phone call. The contents of that call remain unknown to this day, but her supervisor described her as being visibly shaken, almost as if she had heard devastating news. Adding to the intrigue, Maura had also been dealing with personal struggles. There were rumors of tension in her romantic relationship with her boyfriend, Bill Roche, who was stationed in Oklahoma at the time. And in a shocking twist, Maura had been caught using a stolen credit card to order food weeks before her disappearance. While seemingly minor, these incidents paint a picture of a young woman grappling with stress and secrecy. Despite these challenges, Maura's decision to leave Amherst on February 9th remains puzzling. That morning, she emailed her professors, stating she'd be taking a week off due to a family emergency. An emergency her family insists never existed. She then packed up her belongings, withdrew $280 from an ATM, and hit the road in her black Saturn sedan. But where was she going? And why didn't she tell anyone? These questions remain central to the mystery of Maura Murray. What's clear is that by the time she crossed the state line into New Hampshire, she was driving toward something, or away from something. Let's turn to the events of that snowy night, the last known moments before Maura vanished. February 9th, 2004. By early evening, Maura Murray had been driving for hours, heading north through the rugged, icy landscape of New Hampshire. Her exact destination remains a mystery, but her journey would come to an abrupt and unsettling end. At approximately 7:25 p.m., Maura's black Saturn sedan skidded off the road on Route 112 in the small town of Haverhill. The car struck a snowbank, damaging its front end and rendering it undrivable. This stretch of road was isolated, bordered by dense woods, with only a handful of houses scattered nearby. Not long after the crash, a local school bus driver, Butch Atwood, passed by and stopped to offer help. Butch later reported that Maura seemed calm but declined his assistance. She assured him that she had already called for roadside help through AAA, a claim investigators would later find to be false. There was no record of any such call. Atwood drove home, parked his bus less than 100 yards away, and kept an eye on the scene. Within minutes, Maura's car was abandoned, and she was nowhere to be found. According to Atwood, she didn't appear to be intoxicated or distressed, but something about her demeanor struck him as unusual. She seemed in a hurry to end their conversation. By 7:27 p.m., another local resident called 911 to report the accident. Police arrived on the scene at approximately 7:46 p.m., just 19 minutes later. But by then, Maura was gone. All that remained was her car, locked and eerily silent, with some of her belongings left inside. Inside the vehicle, investigators found a few critical items: a box of red wine, some empty beer bottles, and Maura's packed belongings, which suggested she had planned an extended trip. A rag was found stuffed into the tailpipe of the car. An odd and unexplained detail that only deepened the mystery: there were no footprints in the snow leading away from the vehicle, and no signs of a struggle. The immediate area was searched thoroughly, but Maura seemed to have vanished into thin air. Adding to the enigma, her phone and wallet were missing from the car. Did Maura wander off into the freezing wilderness, seeking help? Or was she picked up by someone? A friend? A stranger? Or possibly her abductor? What's chilling is that Route 112 is not a heavily traveled road, especially on a cold winter night. Anyone who picked Maura up would have been one of the few vehicles passing through that area. And yet, to this day, no witnesses have come forward. With little to go on, the initial hours after Maura's disappearance would set the tone for a case that continues to baffle law enforcement, amateur sleuths, and her family alike. What really happened on that snowy road in New Hampshire? To find answers, we must examine the investigation and the many theories that have emerged over the years. In the weeks following Maura Murray's disappearance, the initial urgency of the search began to wane. But for her family and close friends, the nightmare was just beginning. Each passing day without answers deepened the pain, and as the case gained national attention, the pressure on law enforcement to solve the mystery intensified. The family's relentless pursuit. Fred Murray, Maura's father, emerged as the most outspoken advocate for finding her. He tirelessly coordinated searches, spoke at press conferences, and even hired private investigators when he felt law enforcement wasn't doing enough. For Fred, the mystery wasn't just about finding Maura. It was about uncovering the truth, no matter how painful it might be. In interviews, Fred described Maura as a bright, determined young woman who wouldn't have simply walked away from her life. He was convinced foul play was involved and often clashed with authorities over the direction of the investigation. His unwavering dedication has kept Maura's case in the public eye for nearly 2 decades. Her sister, Julie Murray, also became a key figure in keeping Maura's story alive. Through social media campaigns, podcast interviews, and appearances on documentaries, Julie has worked to ensure that Maura's disappearance remains a topic of conversation in the true crime community, public and media attention. As the case gained traction, Maura's disappearance became a focal point for true crime enthusiasts and online communities. Blogs, forums, and Reddit threads dedicated to her story dissected every piece of evidence and theorized endlessly about what might have happened. Some of these discussions helped bring new attention to the case, but they also introduced a darker side. The rise of internet sleuths brought speculation and accusations, some directed at Maura's family and friends. Wild theories, including those accusing her loved ones of being involved, caused additional heartache for those already struggling with her loss. Media coverage ranged from sympathetic profiles of Maura's life to sensationalized accounts of her struggles. Documentaries such as The Disappearance of Maura Murray have kept the story alive, but they've also highlighted the gaps in the investigation and the lingering frustration of those seeking closure. The impact on the community. Maura's disappearance sent shockwaves through the small town of Haverhill and beyond. For locals, the case was a grim reminder of how quickly tragedy could strike, even in a quiet, rural area. Many residents joined the search efforts, combing the woods and offering support to the Murray family. But as years passed with no resolution, the community's initial hope turned to quiet unease. Was a predator lurking in their midst? Or had Maura's fate been sealed elsewhere, far from the snowy road where her car was found? Legacy and lingering mysteries. Today, Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most debated missing person cases in American history. Her name has become synonymous with unsolved mysteries, sparking countless books, podcasts, and TV specials. Yet, despite the attention, her case remains as cold as the winter night she vanished. For her family, the search for answers continues. They hold onto the hope that someone, somewhere, knows the truth about what happened to Maura and will one day come forward. The disappearance of Maura Murray isn't just a story of loss. It's a reflection of our collective fascination with the unknown and our desire to bring light to the darkest corners of human tragedy. The case of Maura Murray is not just a story about a young woman who disappeared on a cold February night. It's a haunting puzzle, a lingering mystery that continues to evoke both fascination and frustration nearly 2 decades later. Recap of key points. We know Maura left her dorm room at the University of Massachusetts Amherst and embarked on a journey she never explained. We know she crashed her car on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, and declined help from a passerby. And we know that, in the short span of time between a neighbor's 911 call and the arrival of police, Maura vanished without a trace. What we don't know is what happened next. Did she leave voluntarily, seeking a new life away from the pressures she was facing? Did she fall victim to the harsh winter wilderness? Or did she encounter someone whose intentions were far more sinister? Reflection and lingering questions. As with so many cold cases, Maura's story raises more questions than it answers. Why did she lie about calling AAA? What was her true destination? And who, if anyone, knows the truth about her final moments? For her family, the mystery isn't just a tragic story. It's their life. Every day without answers is a day spent in limbo, clinging to hope but haunted by uncertainty. For the rest of us, Maura's disappearance is a stark reminder of how quickly life can change. One wrong turn, one fateful encounter, and everything you know can be lost in an instant. Maura's case is a testament to the importance of keeping missing persons' stories alive. If you have any information about Maura Murray's disappearance, no matter how small it may seem, please contact law enforcement. Your tip could be the key to solving this mystery and giving her family the answers they've sought for so long. And to our viewers, what do you think happened to Maura Murray? Was it a tragic accident, a deliberate escape, or something far more sinister? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into true crime mysteries. Together, we can shine a light on the darkest corners and bring stories like Maura's the attention they deserve. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and take care.